to talk about.
Yes.
This specific one.
Louis likes this one.
Oh, really? It's a track that I actually put together for myself because I wanted to challenge myself to get into different subdivisions. And in coming up with a name, I came up with a super creative name of Subdivide.
No.
For the track. So,
Nice.
I mean, playing drums, a lot of what I did throughout my journey has been obviously 8th note based, 16th note based, and even some triplets when I'm feeling adventurous. And then Annika and a whole bunch of other people come along and they introduce this quintuplet concept to me, and I'm like, what? So that blew my brain. Probably, I would say maybe 3 years ago, where I kind of started exploring this concept. I mean, it's always been there. You just never really
No one's
got
popularized it as much as these people have.
Yeah, so, and then I've discovered a guy that teaches at Berklee College of Music, Henrique de Almeida, and he goes through a whole lot of subdivisions and a lot of his exercises and stuff. So I started getting more information and material about it and started practicing it. And but because it's not such a popular subdivision, there isn't a lot of play along tracks that kind of incorporate that. So I decided, well, I need to make my own then. And that's what I came up with. So yeah, just exploring different subdivisions. So, and the thing with subdivisions, odd subdivisions like that, a lot of people kind of look down at it and go, well, you're never going to use that in a gig. So, and many of the gigs that I do, I never use those subdivisions. But the fact that I can get myself to a point, hopefully one day, where I can accurately play every one of those subdivisions just hones my timing skills, my micro timing so much better. So that I'm not, when I'm doing a straightforward kind of gig, I don't have to focus on timing so much. I can focus on the 100 other things that I need in order to make this gig work.
Sorry, man. It's funny because that's kind of what people's go-to always is like, that's a cool fill, that's a cool groove, that's a cool concept, but I mean, you're never going to use it in a gig. But I mean, like, you don't learn everything in life just to apply it to work. I mean, it sharpens your mind, it broadens your horizons about how you think about other things. You might do a quintuplet today and it kind of sparks an idea in you of how to create that similar sound in a 4/4 feeling, and people don't understand that everything you learn here has to be applied textbook, the way you've learned it, into a gig situation or a group situation. People don't seem to understand that. Anyway,
no learning experience is in vain.
Exactly,
In my opinion. So, and in many other people's opinion. So it's true, there are some things that are much more relevant to what you are doing, and it's important to nail those concepts. But if you're not exploring and broadening your understanding and your horizons in terms of your ability on the drum set, your knowledge of music theory, of application, then you're stagnating.
Exactly. Yeah, true. I mean, I guess if you're happy to stagnate, by all means do it. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it, I guess, per se.
Well, my approach to that, because I teach a lot of people, and I realize that not every one of my students are going to be the next session player in the industry. So, and that's totally fine. Yeah. There are so many people that simply want to play drums for the enjoyment.
Exactly.
And that's cool. If you want to do that, then learn the grooves that you really enjoy, play it to the songs that you really love, and enjoy it, man. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to be a professional drummer, you want to start getting yourself into situations where people are kind of pushing on your button and saying, listen, we need you to make this gig work,
Yeah.
then you need to start equipping yourself with the right tools to be able to handle those situations.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome.
Love it. Then with that being said, like talking about working drummer and all of that, again, there's so much more to it than just discussing songs and playing songs.
Yeah.
What has been your journey? You know, so right through playing for the gigs that you play, all the way up until where you are at now. And it's the other thing we mentioned, especially going back to what we discussed about COVID, is the longevity
Yeah.
thing of everything. So also what I love that you mentioned, sorry, is, you know, you're saying one day you would hope to kind of be waxed with those. So again, process.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, can you tell us about like your journey, session drumming, and the longevity and the patience and the consistency, all the stuff that you've had to go through, and each one of us have had to go through.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I started playing drums when I was like 4 or 5 years old. And then round about age 16 was kind of the first time actually where I started thinking, no, wait a minute. It was after my tour with, I toured with a company back then when they were called Seekreis. They had a name change, 13th Floor. I don't think they're actually active anymore, but a lot of the people that I got to know in the industry kind of went through those same ranks. So I spent 2 years touring with that company, and I got to know a lot of amazing people in the industry because they were there with me. And after that, we started kind of each going our own way and reconnecting in certain places in the industry. So I think even up to that point where I started touring with them, I never really considered drumming as like my career going forward. I think that probably only came afterwards when I started noticing, well, I'm getting opportunities to do this drumming thing, and while I have I was still living at my parents' place, I was studying, and I had the opportunity to start pursuing it. So substituted that with some teaching. I've been teaching for many years and I still love it. I think I'll never get rid of my students. It's a part of me that I enjoy. But yeah, making connections, I think that was the one thing that those 2 years touring with that company really set me up with, is making connections. People like Stella, Retief Berger, I actually met through that group. There are a lot of people actually, and many of those connections actually opened up new contacts as well.
Yes,
it's like a set of tree branches that just keeps
for sure.
expanding and growing. So but yeah, that was, I think 2006 I started doing like pub gigs with friends and that kind of thing. But I probably only got to the point where I would call myself financially like stable and independent, let's say like 2013, 2014.
Long process.
Yeah, it took years of building connections, doing gigs, before I got to the point where I could go, okay, cool, Mom, I don't need you to drop food off at my place anymore.
You can take my pocket money away.
Yeah, I think I'll manage. I might bug you for some petrol money now and then. So yeah, I mean, that process, people underestimate how long that takes.
Exactly.
And a lot of guys want to jump into the industry, and within the first year they want to be this big shot name, and and you get cases like that where people get a quick break and they go huge for 6 months.
Exactly.
And after that,
Huge. Or 6 months.
Yes.
Yes.
And
yeah.
after that, everything nosedives because
Yeah.
I firmly believe that everything you need in order to sustain a career, you only learn in that long process, building up to the point where you can actually call what you're doing a career.
Right. And the maintaining of relationships as well.
Exactly, yeah.
That's another whole different thing.
Yeah, I'm literally still playing with artists that I met in 2004 in Seekreis.
Wow.
Stella is the one lady that I still perform with every now and then. And she was like one of the first people whose albums I played on back in 2005, end of 2005.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and to this day, when she has a gig and she needs a drummer, she phones me. Because there's
awesome. I love
15
that.
years of relationship and really, yeah, just fusing. I don't know. It's tough to explain.
No,
Yeah, no, I get
it's
it.
a big thing.
Yeah,
Relationship is key, man.
yeah. And I mean, business-wise, never mind music. Any business will tell you that repeat customers are
Yes.
the best business.
Yeah.
Yeah, why is it different from music?
Exactly.
Mm.
Yeah. So
That's crazy. And then gear. Good
Yes.
old gear.
yes.
So I think I'd like to end off with this one.
Okay. Cool.
So gear and endorsements.
Oh yeah.
So those are two huge things,
Yeah.
especially endorsements. And I think if people have watched SA Drummers content a lot, we have been putting so much out about endorsements and spoken to drummers about endorsements. And the reason why we do that is because we get so many questions about endorsements. I mean, we were chatting to Rahman as well.
Yeah.
He's like, most of the questions are about endorsements. What's going on?
Wow.
And it is true because it's
Yeah.
like, it almost feels as if guys don't really know what an endorsement entails.
Yes.
I think they think like, oh, I can say I'm endorsed by Yamaha and I get a free drum kit and now my career is on its way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And
exactly.
It's such a misinterpreted thing.
Yeah.
So even as SA drummers, so many questions we get is, how do I get endorsements? And then if you look deeper, I'm not saying this is for every single drummer. There are some guys that have contacted even myself saying, hey, can you give me a connection? Let's say for Yamaha. And they actually got a really good profile. But then you get some guys where obviously I'm going to check someone out. They say, can you set me up with an endorsement? I'm not going to recommend anybody because imagine I go to Yamaha, I'm like, hey, check this guy out. And then a week later they're like, dude,
Yeah.
like, did you actually see recommending? So obviously you got to do the research. And sometimes you see the guy that's asking for the endorsement is nowhere close to being there yet,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. So I want to tell those guys, like, man, don't worry about endorsements, dude. Like, worry about networking, building relationships,
Yeah.
doing all that. Like, why are you even thinking about getting endorsement right now?
Yeah.
Put that focus and energy into that'll come. I think endorsements, they come, but get your career going first.
Yeah.
So I know you're obviously with a lot of brands and you take your endorsements seriously. You're really loyal to the brands that you play. So in terms of the gear you play, up until endorsing those brands, what is your vibe with all of that?
Okay, so let me start off with the gear and then I'll talk about why I'm passionate about that gear as well. So Sonar drums, when I was small, someone gifted me a drum set back in the day. My father has been a pastor, a minister in the church for many years, and someone in the church felt they want to save the church's drum set and just give me one of my own so I can bash that rather. And that got stolen, and with the insurance payout I went to a shop back in like 2002, something like that, and I was browsing around and there were a whole bunch of options, and I got to this Sonar kit. I started playing around a bit with the tuning. I was good friends with the shop guys. You know us musers, always hanging around
Yeah.
the shops.
I know the guy from that local.
yeah, exactly. So they allowed me to play around with the tuning a bit and explore the drum set, the sound, and just hitting the bass drum. I was like, yes,
It's a deal, man.
this is what it should sound like. This is that sound that I'm hearing always in my mind when I think about drum sound. So it tuned up really easily. It played very nicely. So I decided this is the one, and it was an entry-level sonar kit.
Right.
Force 2001. From there, I used that kit a lot, and when I finished my tour with Seekreis or 13th floor, I decided, okay, if I want to do this professionally, then I need like a proper kit, because this is kind of an entry-level one. You know, it still sounds cool, but I don't want people to frown at me when I pitch up at a studio. With
It's
this
like
kit.
it's like corporate guys not wanting to drive in a polo or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
I got you.
Dude, I had that once at a gig where I rocked up with like this little 20-inch kick. And you guys remind me of that story. I won't forget it. And it wasn't the greatest. I've still got the kit actually. And it's like a really cool engineer way back, dude. This is like, I was probably 16. And he always supplied his kits. And I remember I felt brave. And I'm like, I want to put my kit up. And I had this like little kick drum, dude. And I remember I put it on thinking, oh, he's going to like it. And as I kicked it, he literally looked back and went,
Oh man.
Oh wow.
and I was like, started taking off. Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
that just
man.
reminded me of like my most. So I get you.
Yo,
when you
yeah.
know to get a new kit.
Yeah, so I started browsing some options. I kind of cleared my mind of, you know, like I kept an open mind. Like, I'm not gonna go with one specific brand. I'm gonna see what's out there. And eventually I get onto the Sonar website and they have this SQ2 builder, and I start putting together my own drum set. You know, like, this would be so cool, like one day in 10
Rolls
years.
Royce.
Yeah. And 2 weeks later, I was ordering it. It's like, okay, well, that just happened. So I waited for it a few months because they have to literally manufacture it from the time you order it. But when it arrived as well, I remember opening it in the store, and like out of the box, it just sounded amazing, man.
Awesome.
Like, yeah. So I've been a Sonar fan ever since my first Sonar kit, actually.
Yeah.
That kit that I bought, that is the kit that I'm using on recordings nowadays.
Wow.
Because the wood has matured so nicely.
Right.
It's a bit of a drier tone, so a lot of your more vintage sounding kind of retro tones you can actually get out of that
That
kit.
is cool, man.
So
amazing.
yeah, that was kind of my journey with Sonar, with the brand. Even long before I started chatting with a company somewhere, I can't even remember where or when exactly, but I started connecting with a local distributor, and then I figured I want to be involved with this company, and I put up my hand to manage their artist relations, because as much effort as I put in to connect with a company, it just didn't feel like they had enough time to reciprocate that. So I figured if I can add value to the other artists that are playing Sonar, it would just kind of connect them in a much
Right.
better way with the brand. So put up my hand for that, and that opened up amazing opportunities for me as well. But I was basically just slugging it without compensation, really. They never gave me any gear. They never.
You love that brand, man. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
So in that sense, I came to the party and I said, I love what's happening here. I want to contribute. Never mind what I get out of it. I just love this brand so much. So yeah, that's been my journey with Sonar. Yeah, and it's been amazing. I've met some really awesome people. Yeah, stuff that you can never pay for in money.
Yeah.
The experiences that I got out of partnering with a company, and that for me is endorsement.
It's relationship
Well said.
again.
Again, yeah, a lot of people feel they have this misconception that companies like Sonar or like Yamaha or Pearl or whoever,
Yeah.
or Zildjian, Mapex,
Mino.
Sabian, you know, you can name all of them. Anyway, we all have our favorites, you know.
I was laughing at your joke on WhatsApp the other day.
Oh yeah. Maybe you'll share it. Maybe you won't. I don't know.
I'm gonna put your name on it that you said it.
Just know that I'm a Zildjian man. Anyway, so back to the point. People look at these companies and they think, these companies walk around looking for drummers to put a stamp of approval on.
Throw gear at.
Yeah. People go, well, I play drums very, very well, so this company has to give me stuff.
No ways.
And I think that's the reason why a lot of people pursue endorsements, is because they feel it's some stamp of approval on your career, on your ability as a drummer,
for sure.
which is totally not true.
Exactly, not true.
Having an endorser relationship with a company is all about making that company awesome. So technically, you are starting to work for that company. You're taking on another job without getting paid for it.
That is very true.
So, and that's been my approach with every one of the companies that I have arrangements with and relationship with. It's like, okay, cool. I love these products. I'm going to, out of my own, do video reviews of these products. I'm going to help you guys reach people that never heard of the brand for, I don't know, maybe they were living under a rock. But I'm going to help get your company's name around to the people where I have influence because I love this brand.
That's awesome.
So yeah, Zildjian, I've been playing Zildjian for many years. I've pretty much that same time when I went to buy my first sonar kit, I had to obviously replace my cymbals, and I just walked around and I hit all the cymbals in the shop and I picked the ones that sounded the best to me. And they all happen to be Zildjian. So, yeah, and I mean, it's just, they have a sound that I absolutely enjoy. And what I also love about every one of the companies that I have relationship with is the incredible heritage that they have in the drumming community.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Zildjian since 1623.
Yeah.
Sonar since 1875.
Wow.
Remo, I can't even remember how far back Remo goes. Vic Firth is like that was like the start of proper drumsticks. So yeah, all those companies have been around for ages. They've survived world wars. They've survived more than one pandemic.
Right.
You know? And what I also love about each one of those companies is they invest back into the drumming community.
Yeah.
If you look at what they do in terms of education, in terms of clinics, in terms of social investments, they are really it's these companies that are by drummers for drummers.
Yeah.
And that's it's just
awesome.
such a cool vibe to be part of. So yeah, that's my take on endorsements.
Awesome, man.
Crazy.
So well said.
It is very well said. And I think that's cool. I think guys just grasp that, man. It's not just, like you said, you nailed it with, it's not a stamp of approval.
Yeah,
And because of my approval, I get free stuff.
exactly.
So,
So
that
what
is
I-
awesome.
What I actually want to add on to that is, if you don't want to allocate your time towards promoting a company, then don't go for endorsements.
Exactly.
If you don't have time to promote companies, then don't worry, because it's supposed to be an extra burden on your time when you sign an endorsement
Yeah,
deal.
you're 100% right, dude.
So, and if you're not up for that challenge,
Don't do it.
don't do it.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
Amazing.
So man, do you want to plug in anything? Do you want to shout out anything?
Well, I've already sung the praises of all the companies that I have such a long-standing relationship with. So, but yeah, thanks to you guys. It's just, once again, it's really cool to plug into a drummers community and really be part of something amazing.
Yeah, it's fun.
So I really appreciate the invitation
Thank
to
you for coming, man.
Yeah.
come and
thank you,
generate
man.
some killer content with you guys.
Yes.
I'm so excited about what you guys are putting out. Yeah, no, it's
Thank you,
dude.
man.
yeah, it's
Appreciate that. Thank you, Jason.
awesome.
Thank you for coming.
Fist bumps all around.
We're a double.
Flam.
Late.
Late.
Flam. Flam.
That was a super wide.
Yeah,
flam.
white flam. Power flam. White power flam. Don't worry about it.
Catch Louis' next lesson on the flam.
The power flam.
The white power flam.
Alright, cool guys. Thank you so much for joining us. In about 2 weeks or so, we'll have a lesson on the power flam. But for now, that's this episode done. Hope you guys enjoy it, and we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.